What is up, guys? TSL here, back with a brand new SPTS video. In today's video we will be making the invisibility power up for the SPTS late game. So basically the way the invisibility power up works in this game is if you have more psychic than somebody and you go invisible, they won't be able to see you at all. On your screen you'll be able to see you like half invisible. And if you have less psychic than the person that's looking at you, then they will be able to see you half invisible. And basically that's how it works. So that's what we're going to be making in this video, and I hope you guys enjoy. And right before we start the video, I just want to say our goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of August. And it would really mean a lot to me if you can just press that subscribe button to help out towards that goal. If everybody presses that subscribe button, we will be able to reach that goal. We're about like 300 subscribers away, and we still have July and August, so hopefully we'll reach it. And yeah, let's get started with the video. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to want to do is go into our leader stat script, and we'll go all the way down to the, well, not the very bottom, but to where we have this has energy punch, so that we can make our new value. So we can just copy this and we can paste it here. We can start it off as false. We can change the name to is invisible and just put that there, and then just make it inside the player. The player. And let's bring this back up. So this will be the value so that we know if the player is or should be invisible or not. Alright, so that's it with our leader stat script. So the next thing we're going to need to do is go into our starter player scripts, and we want to go into our powers local script. Underneath this, we want to do if key is equal to T, and then what we want to do is call the event and fire the server, and we want to fire it with invis. And we also want to do comma mouse. And yeah, so we'll make that in just a second, but let's just continue with this script for now. So what we're gonna do is we'll go up here and make a local function. This function will be called make transparent or make invisible. And it will take only one or two parameters actually. It would take in the player and the character, or actually the value. So basically in this function, it's just going to be all the code that we will need. So we actually won't need the player. Actually, we will. So we'll also need the character though. Or we can just make our character variable in here. So local char is equal to game.workspace : wait for child player dot name. And then we can do, well, also what we want to do is get children. So this is going to be like all the parts inside of our character. So then what we want to do is check if the player is invisible dot value. So this just checks if the player is invisible, and if he is, then we want to make him invisible. So we want to do for underscore comma part in pairs the character do. So this, if you've never seen underscore comma, this basically means we don't care about the index, all we want is the value. So like normally you do like I comma V, but we don't care about the index, so we'll just put an underscore. Alright, and then we want to call it part instead of V because it's a part. So the next thing we want to do is check if the part's name is equal to head, because if it is, then we're going to have to make another loop. So we'll do for underscore comma thing in pairs part colon get children do. And then what we want to do, we want to check if the thing is a billboard GUI. Then what we want to do, that means it's our class GUI, or maybe later on it'll be like our name or maybe our rank, or well, actually no, it's just going to be our class GUI for now, at least. So then what we're going to want to do is get if it's the billboard GUI, then we'll do thing colon find first child, and we want to find the image label, and then we want to set the background and transparency equal to the value, and we want to copy this and change this background to image transparency equal to value. And then we want to do else if thing colon is a decal. That means it would be the face because it's in the head. Then basically what we're going to want to do is just set the thing dot transparency equal to value. Alright, so that's it for the if it's a head. So then what we want to do, if it's not head, we want to check if the part is a accessory, and if we find if part colon find first child handle. So if we find a part called handle in the part, then what we want to do is make the part equal to the part's handle, because that's how we're going to make a hat or like the backpack thing transparent. So then the last thing we want to do in this function, the last thing we want to do in this function is if part colon is a base part and part dot name is not equal to humanoid root part, then what we want to do is set the part dot transparency equal to value. So that just means we don't want to change the transparency of the humanoid root part, because no matter what, that should be fully transparent. Alright, so that's it for our function here. So now if we go back down over here, after we do this, all we're really going to want to do is actually, so here we'll remove this if statement because we should not have that here, and we can just tab this back, and then we can remove this char variable. We can put that right here, and we can change this to char. So then over here, when we call our function, the first thing we're going to want to do is if player dot is invisible dot value, then what we're going to want to do is call make invisible, and we're going to want to pass it our character, and if they're invisible, then we want to put it 0.5 transparency for them, and if they're not invisible, then we want to just make sure that they can see themselves completely, so set it to 0. So that should be it for this first part. So making themselves transparent. Note that this will not make them transparent on other people's screens yet. For that, we'll need another local script that we'll make in just a second, but first let's check if this is working, which it won't be, so we have to stop. Don't even want to test it yet, because one thing we forgot to do is go into our create power script. So down here, what we need to do is make a new if statement, and basically we just need to do a little thing in here that will make our value is invisible equal to what it wasn't. So you'll see what I mean. If the power is equal to invis, then we want to set player dot is invisible dot value equal to player dot or equal to not player dot is invisible dot value. So this will just set it to its opposite self. We have to do it in this script because this is a server script and we need to change it on the server side. Alright, so now we can test this, and this should work just for our perspectives, but not for other people. So if we press T, you see we're like half invisible. And yeah, pretty cool. So now if we click stop and go back into our started player scripts, we're going to want to add a new local script. And how about we call this local script invis for others? So let's rename it to invis for others. Alright, so now what we have to do in this script is basically just make a while wait do loop. So, but first, before that, we'll need a variable called local client is equal to game.players.localPlayer. Then we'll have a while wait 0.0, just something really small, do. Alright, so this is what gave me problems when I was testing with this script. I had over here a variable called local players is equal to game.players : get children, and basically it wasn't working because we just had to move this into the loop so that every time we loop through it, we make sure we update our players list because people could have already joined after us. So that's why we have to do that. And then after we make that players variable, what we're going to want to do is make a for underscore comma. We'll do player in pairs players do, and then what we want to do local is invis is equal to player dot is or is invisible. We want to do local PSP is equal to player dot PSP, and we want to do local char is equal to game dot workspace : wait for child, and we want to wait for the player dot name, and we want to get all the parts, so get children. So then we're going to basically, we can go over to our powers local script again and copy this function, and then we can paste it up here, and we will need to add we won't need to add anything to this. So over here, back down in this loop, we want to check if we are invisible or if they are invisible, and if they are, then what we want to do is basically just call our make invisible function with the character, and we want to, for the first time, we want to set it to 1, but here, so if they are invisible, then we want to check if their psychic value is greater than client.psp.value, so greater than our psychic value. Then we want to make them invisible completely. Else we want to make them invisible half only, so like partially. And then if they're not invisible at all, then we just want to make them invisible 0, so that they're fully not invisible. Alright, so we can just minimize that so that it looks a little nicer, and we can try this out. So if we go to our test tab again with our 2 players and click start, and hopefully everything will work like it should. Here's our server. Our players will load in shortly. Here they come. Alright, so right now, let's just click on this one. If I go invisible, on this side you only see me half invisible because we both have 0 psychic, so I don't have any more than him. But now if I do some psychic, or if I do some psychic on this one, now I completely disappear from this guy's screen. But look, here's the cool thing. If I do some psychic and then I all of a sudden, here, let's just get him more so you can see this better. Alright, so let's just get a multiplier real quick. So I have 15 psychic on this one and I only have 4 on this one. So let's just buy some multipliers real quick. Alright, so now you see he just pops up all of a sudden, and if I go invisible on this one, this guy can't see me at all, but I can see him on this one because I have more psychic. Alright, so everything is working perfectly. Now the last thing we want to do is just make it so that we earn this from a quest. Alright, so you know how to make quests already. You know how this works. So just go into our server storage, quest talks, copy talk text 6, and we'll just change it to talk test 7. Good job with your first 6 quests. Now this time you'll need 1,000 psychic. To earn your fly ability, come back to me when you are done. And actually this should be invisibility. Invisibility ability. Also, yeah, that's fine for now. And then we want to go on quests and rewards, and we want to, for done 7 coins, we want it to give 100 coins. Alright, so let's just save this real quick, and now we can close all these scripts too. So now what we're going to want to do is, we don't need to add anything in our server storage powers folder, but we do want to go into our leader stats once more, and we can copy this again. This time this will start as false. This will be renamed to has invisibility. Let's just copy that, paste, and now if we save this, so then the last thing we'll want to do, or not the very last thing, second to last things we'll want to do is go into our dummy give quest scripts. We want to make our local 7 reward is equal to qr.done 7 coins, and local 7th speech is equal to speeches.text 7. Or what did we call that? Quest talks. It is text 7. Alright, so let's go to down here, and here I just want to make a comment up here. That's just the actual name of our thing so we don't misspell it. And then I want to copy this else if it's equal to 7. Yeah, nice. Alright, so this should be 7th speech. and yeah, everything else is fine there. So then we want to go to our last quest. Make sure we set this to 7. We want to copy this and we want to paste it, change this to 8. Psychic value should be 1,000, greater than or equal to 1,000. Quest num is 7 at least, or it's actually 7. Completed text, yeah. And then this should not be powers.has fly, should be has invisibility. So powers.has invisibility dot value is equal to true. Completed text, yes. Quest num 8th, this should be 7th reward. And yep. Alright, so everything looks like it should be working good now. So let's save this to Roblox real quick. And then the very last thing we'll have to do is go back into our powers local script, and we'll have to do an player dot powers dot has invisibility dot value. Alright, so now if we save this to Roblox and we just click play, then we should be all set to go. So let's just something is big time messed up because the save script I was working on, let's just make sure we don't save stuff. You guys don't have this because I'm still working on the script. But it just saved. That's why, because it's saving everything in the wrong slots, that's why it's not working yet. Alright, so now if we just play this, it should be all good now. Alright, yeah, because our strength starts at 100. So if we just up our multiplier all the way to 8 on psychic, our multiplier to 2 or to 4 on strength, to 2 on endurance, and to 4 on agility. Oh, I don't have enough coins. Alright, there we go. So let's just go to our quest guide to get our stuff. Alright, almost at 10. There we go. 500 psychic. Don't have that yet, I guess. So let's go to our zone here. And now we're getting tons of psychic. You know what I can actually do? Just go into our players. Here, let's go current server. Go to our players. Go to me, and we can go to P multi. Let's just set this to 20. Alright, so yep, now we're gaining tons and tons of psychic every second. Yep. Alright, just make this go by a lot quicker. We got our 500 now. We have our aura. What the heck? What is that? Alright, so this is supposed to be transparent. And we have our fly ability. So now, here we go. We should have our invisibility, and we do. We can fly invisibly. We can shoot energy punches. I mean, they will still not be invisible, but we will. And we can have our aura on, which will make... Okay, so, that's why this is like that, because the invisibility. So let's just change that real quick. So the way we'll do that, server storage powers aura, the aura part. So if there's no aura part, wait. So let's just or create power script instead. Check where does this get cloned into? Or just the character. Okay. So over here, in our function in Power's local script, what we're gonna want to do is make the this and part.name is not equal to aura. Then alright, perfect. Now it will work if we just put this into invis for others. There we go, and now it's gonna be fine, trust me. Alright, so I don't want to hear anything, it doesn't work. I've tested this before and right now with you guys, so everything works. If it doesn't work for you, that means you did something wrong. Check your scripts carefully. If you can't find out your mistake, just ask me in the comments below. Don't be afraid to comment. I will always help you guys out as much as I can, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Please remember to hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1K by the end of August, remember. So anybody that subscribes will be a huge help towards that. So please subscribe. See you in the next video, guys. Bye.